8:17 and a bit. The Sure guys are here, ready to rock. They've got the TT Piece radios. They've got all sorts of stuff to sell in here. And of course, if you're here for the very first time and you've got your phone from across the wet bit, watery bit, wherever you come from, and you don't want to get stung for the old roaming charges and all that malarkey, speak to the guys at Sure and they'll sort your phone out of the box, and that's the link done. And you've got to keep the sponsor happy, Christy.
You have. I think, have you got charging stations here as well?
No, not this year. They haven't got them this year. They haven't got them. But what was he saying? Oh, he does.
Little packs for people.
Little battery packs. There you go.
Little
Happy
battery
days.
packs. There you go. Because we did have people asking about charging their phones. So
what have you got for us, Chris?
Right. Okay. So we've still got quite a few messages coming in over here, but we just wanted to give a reminder really about the times that the races are on.
Oh, is that my bit? Is
That's
it?
your
right,
bit.
okay.
I'm holding it up for you.
Thank
so you.
you. 10:45 is the Monster Energy Supersport race number 1. That's 4 laps. Locate.im. That's 10:45. Locate.im Sidecar qualifying 2 laps is 12:30. 2:15 or 14:13. RL360 Supersot race, that's going to be 4 laps. 16:05 precise. Bennett's lightweight qualifying, and 16:20 the SES TT0 qualifying, with the roads open except the mountain, Barrule Park to Craig the Bar 4:45, and the rest of the TT Mountain Circuit opened at 5:45. What have you got?
He can read. It's brilliant. I just want to come back to something I was just mentioning to Oli. Actually, I noticed yesterday on Twitter that MCN Motorcycle News did a Tweet Hutchie Q&A. So did he take over your Twitter feed yesterday?
Yeah, it's a little bit brave of me letting Ian loose on my laptop. He did say that he was going to do a load of things that he didn't actually do, which was I was quite glad about.
Tell us what were some of the noise?
Oh, he was on about messaging people and leaving things all over my laptop, and but he did just reply to people's tweets, which was good to see. He was really insightful as well. We got some really good questions in. He was sat there for about half an hour answering questions, which really appreciate the time considering it's in the middle of TT week.
What were some of the good ones? 'Cause I know the one that sort of made me chuckle was someone said, "Oh, don't you just get sick of people asking about your leg?" But why not? Because I mean, we haven't really talked about this. I am astonished by what that guy's achieved over the past few years. Ever since that big crash, he just keeps on coming back, doesn't he?
It is incredible, and his answer to that question was after 7 years, it does get a little bit tiring. But I really, really appreciate the support everyone's given me. I mean, Hutchie's got a remarkable story since winning 5 races in a week here in 2010, going on to Silverstone, tragically breaking his leg, and that kind of ruled him out for a few years. He came back, he was winning again in 2015, winning in 2016, winning in 2017, and then it all went wrong again in the senior TT where he broke his leg again. But lo and behold, he's back.
When you say broke his leg, though, the guys had something like 4 different cages, I think, in the past couple of years.
They were going to take it off, Christy.
They were, yeah. And he was determined. I mean, it's a brilliant article, I have to say, on the BBC. There's a fantastic article that sort of lists everything he's been through, because he had to have it redone over and over again, this cage and the sort of stretching of his leg. And there he is out there, sort of doing it again. And one more tweet that I did notice as well that he had to his personal page. Someone had tweeted him saying, clearly from the heart, said, "Look, we love you, Hutchie, but just put your helmet down and just have a bit of a rest and come back next year." And he replied, "Do you know what? I should be doing this. Is what I need to do. I need to practice for next year and get back out there. I can't have this time off." And that's a really good point, isn't it? You have to sort of keep on it, don't you?
He said that to me at Cadwell Park. I think it was his 3rd test on the bike after having his cage off this year, and he said, last time when I came back after the broken leg, it took me 3 years to win again. But those 3 years were important. There's no preparation for the Isle of Man TT like the Isle of Man TT, and Hutchie was saying yesterday that he is struggling. That's why he retired from the superbike race, because he didn't think that another 2 laps were a good idea. But this is all preparation for when he comes back next year.
It is, using this year as sort of a practice, and he's been through, I mean, to be honest with you, he's been hell and back, really, with everything that he's done. I mean, to get himself back to the position he was in, winning races again, he's working for Tyco, and for that to happen, it's just a complete kick in the teeth for the lad. But he's shown, that the human spirit, I think, endeavours on, especially these guys, because they do not know when to quit.
Well, that's the thing, because you've got him, you've got John McGuinness going out on his Norton the weekend. I mean, Connor coming back from where he's come back from. They've all done it, haven't they? And you guys have all been speaking to these riders over the years and have obviously gotten to know them. What do you think it is about them that just gives them that determination to push through this pain that they do all the time? Dan? What do you reckon, Dan?
Well, I don't know, to be honest. It's on another level. Even when they're fully fit and they're out racing, they're operating on another level. Trying to put yourself mentally into their place when they're on that bike going down Bray Hill. we always say, they're a different breed. They're obviously not a different breed, but there has to be a real strong mentality there to be able to push yourself to do it. And especially, we have these tragedies at the TT, and they still get back on the bike and go out and do them. And I just, but particularly Hutchie, I've never in any sport seen anyone as mentally strong as Hutchie. It's that really is on another level to just go through that, day after day after day of pain to come back and race, and it is just 2 weeks of racing on the TT that drives him. Mm-hmm. It's phenomenal.
It's like a drug, isn't it? I think that'd be the correct analogy. It'd be like a drug addict trying to search out what they need. And Glencrutchy Road, Paul Kermode with his hand on the shoulder. Kermode. That's their drug. Kermode.
Well, I don't think it's Paul Kermode, to be fair, with all due respect to Paul. I think it's winning.
Yes, I know. but having that feeling of the hand on the shoulder is what they want, to look down Glencrutchy Road, to look at the top of St Ninians and go, right, we are about to go off.
And we have to be grateful for that. We have to be grateful that they are willing to put themselves through that, because, at the end of the day, that's what keeps the TT going.
Absolutely. If you have any questions for the guys this morning, feel free to get in touch. Any more in on there, Chris? Have you got something
we've just got a message from Chris who says Dom Herbertson's going really well so far this week. A couple of lads from the northeast of England drivers supporting him, and he's building nicely on the racing team R6 and 1000 BMW. That's from Chris. So Dom's doing well this week.
He retired.
He did retire on Saturday,
didn't he? He had stopped out on the track and, as they say, make adjustments, and he got back to the pits, and then he actually had to wheel his own bike all the way down pit lane and then all the way back up the turn road. The poor lad. A lot of people did have a few problems in the Superbike race on Saturday. Big schedule ahead today. If you are heading out onto the circuit, the TT Mountain Circuit, please get yourself into position early. If you are in a car and you're listening to this, park up sensibly, please, because the normal Isle of Man people have to go around their business. Not everybody in the Isle of Man loves the TT races. A lot of people just want to get off to work today and just get out of the way. Going to ask you boys about, I think Chrissy was going to ask this one, and go on, you ask it, because you've written it down there. How do you go on? You ask it. I was going to ask it anyway, but you've written it down.
I was just intrigued to know, because you guys, Oli and Kyle, obviously you've been coming here for some time. How long have you actually been coming to the TT, Kyle?
I think the first time I came here was 1993. I was obviously very, very young at the time. But 1993, and then I was back in 1995. I think that was the year whenever Joey won the senior that year.
Joey.
What a thing to see.
Smoking Joey, that was it. That was the DVD that came out at the time. And then I had there was a few years break. I was here whenever Joey famously won his last 3 races in 2000. So that was something pretty special. That was a great year to pick, to come back here. Very special memories about that day, as does everyone. I'm sure who was here to witness it. It was something pretty special for Joey to go out and win the Formula 1 at the age of 48. And then I've been here 10 years in a row now, since 2008, so it's just fantastic. I love it. It's a privilege as well that you can come here and cover the event for the newspapers back home. So
Keep Her Lit, is that what they call it, isn't it?
Keep Her Lit, we do a pull out every Tuesday throughout the racing season. It's called Keep Her Lit. And it's well received back home. So we've a couple of the guys that do regular columns. Adam McLean, William Dunlop, who sadly withdrew from the race this year due to personal reasons. So they're regular columnists for us in Keep Her Lit. So it's good coverage, for the bike scene back home, of all the Irish nationals as well as the big races.
And you do the short circuit stuff as well, don't you?
We cover it all. World Superbikes, of course, with Jonathan Ray doing so well. And
he's Manx now,
He's an adopted Manx man. You're not going to claim him, Chris.
No,
we own him.
He's down Castletown, isn't he? So we did see him actually up here the other day. He was in a bit of a wander around with the Mrs. family and that, which is quite nice to see. And do you know what? He couldn't get more than 5 yards without people going, Jonathan Ray, picture, selfie. What's all that about? You can imagine it, yeah.
Did you see that video? I'm intrigued by this, because talking about when you were first here. Did you see the video that was posted yesterday of a girl and her friends, and this guy wanted to film her reaction to seeing the bikes for the first time? It is absolutely priceless, because she is terrified. And when you did first come, Carl, do you remember what that felt like, seeing those bikes for the first time, and how did it make you feel?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'd been going to road races for a long time back at home, the Northwest 200. I don't think I've missed one since I've been born. I don't obviously remember them all, but I've been there in some shape or form. I mean, it's just incredible, isn't it, to be standing so close to the action at the side of the road, and here at the TT, with it being a time trial, who's coming. The bike set off at 10-second intervals. You can hear the noise of the engine building for so long. There's a great sense of anticipation. and then the bike just bursts into view. There's a whoosh, you can feel a blast of heat, and really does take your breath away. So it's fantastic to have the opportunity to go out, and spectate around the course if you can drag yourself away from the press room.
I seen a good video somebody put on social media that of a chap, he was sat there just before the little four roads junction there. It's one to Little London, one off towards the Peelback Road and the TT course, just sat there Cronkavody straight, and his mates are there filming, and he's just there and he's got his little camera and he's ready, he's just poking around the corner, and he can see his mates going because he knows what's coming, and this lad sat there, and the only young lad, probably about young lad, I sound old, don't I, about mid-20s.
That's young.
And thank you very much. And he's just stood there, there's camera, like the first bike goes by, you can just see him going, oh heck, and he just slowly starts to inch back, and then the first one goes, and he moves back a little bit forward, and you can see him look around as if to say, where am I going to go if something happens here? He looked like, I tell you what, I think he needed to go towards the Cronkavody little area there where the toilet was, myself, the poor lad. He was not happy at all. Back to the question we were talking about. Ollie, when did you first get involved? You've been obviously involved with MCN and everything like that, but involved in the road side of it.
I'm a little bit fresher than Kyle, but I've got a few years on him. I'm a little bit younger, so I'll use that as an excuse.
Nice.
My first TT was 2014, and I've come every year since.
And what do you know about the rest of the racing scene, like the Northwest 200, the Ulster Grand Prix, all the national scene in Ireland? Do you keep abreast of all that too?
Yep, follow all of that as well. Obviously, I work with Stephen Davison on the road stuff with Motorcycle News. My day job is actually covering the British Superbike Championship, and then we come over here during the break, and because we put out such a phenomenal amount of content both online and in print, we've got a 32-page supplement in next week, so that's why there's two of us here as well. Because
there was a preview thing that I haven't read it yet, but there was a preview on that he did beforehand. I've seen the cover of that. We're just coming up to 8:30 here on Manx Radio TT. We've got Oli Rushby, we've got Dan Walker, and we've got Kyle Whyte, all in journalists talking about Alaman TT. We'll take a short break back at the Grand